So here are the images. And the story behind the images is I was giving a workshop in those early days of the 90s when the document had just come out, and we were explaining to teachers and students and administrators and so on what the Catholic graduate expectations were all about. And I had two co-op students with me at the time. One was Thomas Trafford and one was Dana McGetton. And Thomas and Dana were with me, and I had presented a workshop, one of my very first. And at the end, I said to them, "Hey, what did you think of the workshop?" And they said, "Yeah, Greg, it was okay." I said, "Thomas, what do you mean it's okay? Like, this is probably one of the most important topics in Catholic education. It has to be better than just okay." And Thomas said, no, Greg, it was good. It was good. And I said, but, and they said, "Well, Greg, if I can be honest, I don't think anyone's going to read it." And I said, "What do you mean they're not going to read it? We're talking about the Catholic graduate expectations. They need to read it." And he goes, "Well, no, maybe they will, Greg, maybe they will, but maybe the students won't read it." And I said, "Okay, Thomas, what can we do? How do I improve the workshop?" And he goes, "Well, Greg, you need some pictures." And I said, "What?" And he says, you need some pictures. And he said, you need to bring those Catholic graduate expectations to life." And I said, "Wait a minute, Thomas. You and Dana are from Cardinal Carter's School of the Arts. This is what you do." I said, "Could you paint those images for us, for me?" And he said, "Yeah, sure, Greg. What do they look like?" And I said, "Thomas, I don't know what they look like. I'm not sure what a discerning believer looks like. I'm not sure what an effective communicator looks like." I said, that's where I need you. So anyways, Thomas and Dana went part of their co-op experience, and they painted the Catholic graduate expectations. And they came back to me, and they have the 7 paintings, just like you're seeing now. They were in kind of a random order and so on. And I go, "Thomas, which one is discerning believer? Which one is effective communicator?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "What do you mean, yes?" He said, "No, just try it." And he calls it now Greg's Catholic graduate expectation bingo. So here are the images. They're not in any particular order, but let's go through and I'll share the stories with you. Next. So the first one is a discerning believer. Goal of Catholic education, the primary goal of Catholic education is we incorporate our faith. So a discerning believer is formed in the Catholic faith community who celebrates the sign and sacred mystery of God's presence through word, sacrament, prayer, forgiveness, reflection, and moral living. And anyways, Thomas says, "Guess which one?" And we'll bring up the first one of those slides. And this is the image. And I said, "Oh, Thomas, this is fantastic. I'm loving the color and so on." And I said, "Tell me what you were thinking when you painted this image." And he says, "Well, Greg, you see the halo?" And I said, "Yeah, I see the halo." And he goes, "Well, it's an angel, but they're holding on to the halo." And I said, "Yeah, I can see that. Why are they holding on to the halo?" He goes, "Greg, when you're 16, if you don't hold on to that halo, it's going to fall off." I said, "Oh, okay. When you're my age, if you don't hold on to the halo, it's going to fall off." And then he said, "And you see those angel wings?" And I said, "Yeah, I see the angel wings." He goes, "They're clip-ons." I said, "What?" He says, "They're clip-ons." And I said, "Why are they clip-ons?" He says, "Greg, sometimes we take them off. That's the discerning part. Sometimes we believe, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have them on, sometimes we don't." I said, "Thomas, is a beautiful image of discerning believer." Next. Goal number 2, to be an effective communicator. An effective communicator who speaks, writes, and listens honestly and sensitively, responding critically in light of gospel values. And he said, "Greg, guess which one is the effective communicator?" And I got this one. So number 2 is effective communicator. And it was actually Dana who took the lead on this one. And I said, Dana, what were you thinking when you painted effective communicator? And she said, and Dana's quiet and shy and so on. She said, Greg, do you see the ears? And I go, Dana, it's pretty hard to miss those ears. She said, it's all about listening. It's all about listening when you're an effective communicator. And that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we would listen twice as much as we speak. And I said, yeah, tell me about the mouth. And I said, it's pretty big too. And she said, yeah, it is, Greg. And it's smiling. Because when you're a teenager, you don't always hear the good news. And they say 75% of the messaging that students receive in a day is negative. So we need to hear the good news. So the smile is all about the good news. I said, beautiful, Dana, thank you. Goal number 3. Goal number 3, a reflective, creative, and holistic thinker who solves problems and makes responsible decisions with an informed moral conscience for the common good. So I was looking at this one and I go, wait a minute, it must be number 1. That must be the creative thinker. And sure enough, it was. And I said, wait a minute, Thomas, for creative thinker, isn't that Rodin's image? And he goes, yes. And he goes, so I said, for creative thinker, you stole somebody's image. He goes, yeah, but Greg, everybody will get this one, right? Even you got this one. I said, awesome, Thomas, thanks very much. And he says, look at the background. He says, with that thinking, that holistic thinking, that reflective thinking, the black background is trying to show the thoughts coming together in a swirling pattern. I said, beautiful, Thomas. Everyone will get that one for sure. Goal number 4. Self-directed, responsible, lifelong learner. A self-directed, responsible, lifelong learner who develops and demonstrates their God-given potential. And I have to admit, when I looked at the remaining ones, I said, Dana, I'm not sure I see self-directed, responsible, lifelong learner. Which one is it? And she pulled up this one here. And I said, okay, Dana, you'll have to tell me, what were you thinking? And she said, Greg, if you don't like it, we can change this. I said, no. I said, I just want to know what you were thinking when you painted this particular image. And she said, Greg, I tried to paint the image of a person standing on the edge of creation, in awe and in wonder of all there is to know about the world God has given to us. I said, Dana, what did you just say? And she said, Greg, we can change it. I said, no, I don't want to change it. I want to hear that again. She said, Greg, I tried to paint the image of a person standing on the edge of creation, in awe and in wonder of all there is to know about this world that God has given to us. I said, Dana, that is beautiful. It's amazing what comes out the mouth of a 16-year-old student. Goal number 5. So this is back to Thomas. And remember, Thomas just had a little bit of an edge to him. And I said, Thomas, collaborative contributor, I think it's number 5. And he said, yep, Greg, it is. And sure enough, I got that one right. And he said to me, Greg, who will be listening to this presentation? I said, Thomas, I'm not sure who will be listening to my presentation or if anyone ever listens to my presentations, but could be students, could be teachers, could be parents, could be administrators. I said, why do you ask? And he said, Greg, tell them life is a dance and it's a lot more fun when we dance with others. I said, beautiful, Thomas. And a collaborative contributor is one who finds meaning, dignity, and vocation in their work, which respects the rights of all and contributes to the common good. And life is a dance, and it's a lot more fun when we dance with others. Goal number 6, a caring family member. And this was Dana again. And a caring family member is one who attends to family, school, parish, and the wider community. And I said, Dana, this one here, it must be number 7. And she said, yes, Greg, it is. And I said, what were you thinking when you painted this picture? She said, Greg, I tried to paint the image of a person, a parent, a teacher, looking into the eyes of the child. I said, Dana, what a beautiful image of a caring family member. And she said to me, Greg, if you look at the shape of that figure, it's actually half of a heart. And she said, if you look in the background, you'll actually see the hearts. And if you look really closely in that yellowish orange color, you'll see the words love, you'll see the words care. And that's all about being a caring family member. I said, Dana, beautiful. Thanks very much. Goal number 7, a responsible citizen. A responsible citizen who gives witness to Catholic social teaching by promoting peace, justice, and the sacredness of human life. And obviously, I was able to pick this one out as number 3. But it was Thomas who jumped in. He said, Greg, we're going to change this one. I said, oh yeah, why are you going to change it? He said, well, we don't know if it really fits. And I said, well, tell me what you were thinking, and then we can decide if we need to change it or not. I said, Greg, we worked on this one together, and in one balance, we put the world. And in the other balance, we put an individual. And we tried to capture the image of the needs of the individual and the needs of the world. I said, Thomas, I love that. And he said, well, the individual too is wearing a blindfold. I said, oh yeah, what's that about? He said, well, justice is blind. And really, being a responsible citizen is all about social justice. And it is the one message we really get as teenagers. We get what is fair. We get social justice. And it's so true. I said, okay, Thomas, well, you still want to change it? And he said, well, maybe we'll leave it and then we'll come back to it. So sure enough, about 3 days later, I happened to see them and I said, Thomas, Dana, do you still want to change goal number 7, responsible citizen? And they said, no, we like it. We like it. And as artists, we get to change our mind. And I said, okay, well, what helped you to change your mind? And they said, well, you see the star, Greg? And I said, yeah, I see the star on the balance. I said, well, originally we kind of put it on there because there is a formula in art where the edge of the page should be a certain distance from, I guess, the first part of the image. And I said, oh, okay, so you added a star. And he said, yeah, but it actually could be the Star of David, Greg. And I go, beautiful, it's the Star of David. And said, do you see the image of the balance of the scales? And I said, yeah, I see that. And he said, well, it's kind of like the crucifixion, right? So we have the Star of David and we have the crucifixion as part of the background to this idea of social justice, being a responsible citizen. I said, Thomas, that is great. We are definitely not going to change that image now.